Well, I'm defending my title quite well as I get it done in wild card weekend, and I am on to the divisional round in my matchup for the 2024-25 NFL playoffs. It's divisional round weekend, man. What's going on, everybody? I'm Mac, back with another video. As always, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, follow on Instagram. Link is down in the box below. I apologize for my voice a little congested, a little bit of a winter cold, but I'll pull through it. But yeah, these are my divisional round weekend picks. Lot to go over, so I'm just gonna try to get through these as quickly as I possibly can. 4 games, and I think all 4 of them can be really good games. Hopefully, it's a lot better than a wild card weekend. But yeah, let's get on to it. These are my divisional round picks. Starting things off in the AFC on Saturday, we got the Houston Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs going at it in Arrowhead. So, yeah, the Chiefs, I think after 24 days of rest, they are starting their starters in this game. That's right. It's been over 3 weeks that the Chiefs have played their starters. And the last time they played their starters, it was against my team on Christmas Day. So there you go with Kansas City, 15-2, the number 1 seed in the AFC. And in my opinion, they are the second best team in the NFL this year behind the Detroit Lions. So Houston, they beat up on the Chargers in the wild card 32-12 as the defense there, I mean, they just bullied Justin Herbert all game. So there's an advantage right there for Houston. Well, a takeaway for the Texans right there. If they can make Patrick Mahomes make the mistakes that Justin Herbert made, then Houston is in really great shape to win this game. Now, obviously, you're talking about Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert. Those are 2 completely different types of quarterbacks. But also, I wouldn't say it's not impossible because Houston is 5th in defense this season. So there you go with that. Plus, Mahomes had a very uncharacteristic down year for him in his standards. And like I said, this is his first game in over 3 weeks. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but I am saying that Houston does have a very good opportunity right here to make Mahomes really work. So there you go with that. CJ Stroud, he threw 2 picks in the last game that they played against Kansas City was a couple weeks ago, a game that the Chiefs won. And in the wild card game last week, Joe Mixon really went off as he had 100 yards on the ground while they're going up against Kansas City's defense, which I believe is 4th in the league, and they're second best against running backs this season. So I think CJ Stroud, if he can be able to use his legs in this game, that can be an X factor for this game right here. Kansas City is a little their pass defense is pretty respectable. And so I think they got to make CJ Stroud just uncomfortable in that pocket right there because I think while Nico Collins is a good fill-in for Houston's depleted receiver room, him going up against Trent McDuffie, I think that's going to be one of the premier matchups that a lot of people are going to be tuning into for this game as the Chiefs, they do generate a lot of pressure. CJ Stroud was sacked 3 times against the Chargers, so there you go right there. I will actually be kind of surprised if this is a high scoring game. This is kind of like in the realm of about, I would say, 24-21. That's the type of game that I'm looking at right here. Obviously, it's going to come down to which Kansas City offense we're going to see on Saturday because the Chiefs, their offense has been decent as of late, but it's been kind of underwhelming this year. But like I said, they have that rest, which can either be really good or really bad depending on, you know, what your team is. And seeing the targets that Mahomes has to work with, I think Noah Gray doesn't really get enough Um, I don't think he gets enough respect, and I don't think he gets enough recognition as among the targets that Mahomes has. Then, of course, you got Travis Kelce and Xavier Worthy as well. For Houston, you're looking at Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson coming off with blitzes right there. So if they make Mahomes work, that's going to be that's going to be a big key as well. But it really comes down to protecting the pass in this game and winning in the trenches. Kansas City, they have an offense that's absolutely going to keep your defense honest. And I think Houston, if they're being honest with themselves, they are going to bring everything they have on Mahomes in this game. So those are just my general takeaways for this game. This is honestly a trickier game than what people think. But let's be honest, Mahomes and Reed have never gone one and done with each other. I'm leaning towards that. I'm taking the Kansas City Chiefs to win this one. Much like that, Houston has never advanced to the AFC Championship game, and these two have played each other in the playoffs two other times. 2015, a 30 to nothing Kansas City rout over Houston for the Chiefs' first playoff win at that time, I believe since 1993, if I'm not mistaken. And then obviously we all know the big one, 2019, Texans were up 24 to nothing on Kansas City, and the Chiefs outscored them 51 to 7 the rest of the way and won 51 to 31. People forgot Houston even had a lead in that game. But I'm going to say Kansas City goes to 3-0 against the Texans in the playoffs, and I think they go back to the AFC Championship once again. This would be what their seventh straight AFC Championship. I've honestly lost track. They're in it so often, but I think it's their. I think it'd be their seventh straight. But regardless, I'm taking Kansas City. Next Saturday game, we got the Washington Commanders and the Detroit Lions going at it in Ford Field. I think this is easily going to be the best game of the week, in my opinion. I am really looking forward to watching this game. So you got two top five scoring teams in the league going at it in this one. The Lions are the number one scoring team in the league. Washington is fifth in scoring this season. So definitely, if you're an offense person, if you're a high scoring type of person, this is your type of game right here. So let's talk about these two. Washington, they got their first playoff win in 19 years as they defeated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 23 to 20 thanks to a doink in field goal game winner as Washington got their first playoff win in 19 years, which was also against Tampa Bay. And Washington all season, they've been rallying, they've been fighting. Their offense has been prolific. Solid debut in the playoffs for Jaden Daniels, in my opinion. I think he really has shown that he definitely belongs in this league. Like, he is definitely a quality starter. I think Washington fans have a lot to be hopeful for with him. Um, Although Washington's defense still kind of holding them back a little bit as they're third to last in run defense. And right off the bat, I can tell you right there, that's a huge advantage for a team like Detroit. They have the most balanced offense in the league, in my opinion. You got a quarterback like Jared Goff, who was fourth in touchdown passes this year with 37. And they also have the number 3 rushing offense in the league, mainly with guys in Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, who's come back after he missed the last 3 games. Those two are just going to kick you right in the teeth on the ground once they get it going. Then you got to take a look at guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams. Obviously, that's a big chore for any kind of defense right there, but especially for a defense that Washington has. In their defense, though, Washington did hold Tampa to below their season average in points. So, but, and Tampa, they do have a very good offense, but going up against this Lions team, it feels totally different. They have way more weapons than Tampa Bay does. You also got to take a look at a guy like Tim Patrick. He's had a couple of good games this year. And of course, you got Sam Laporta. So really, you take a look at this Detroit team, very well balanced. They're ferocious. And I know Lions fans have heard it all season, but they have to win the Super Bowl this year. If they don't win the Super Bowl this year, then I'm truly convinced they're never going to win one. Plain simple. They're 15-2, the number one seed in the NFC, and I think my narrative with them is restored. I think this truly is the best team in the NFL. Defense, they are 7th in points per game this year, and they are 1st in pass defense. However, they could do a little bit better with blitzing, and Jaden Daniels is that type of quarterback that does well against the blitz. He's able to find guys like Terry McLaurin and Dommy Brown. So there you go with Washington against Detroit's blitz, against Detroit's renegade attack right there. Detroit's rush D is 11th against running backs, so I feel like Washington can definitely pair up well on all phases on offense with Detroit, but to me, it's going to come down to which defense I trust more, which defense I trust getting a big stop at the end of the game. And if you ask me, that's the Lions. I'm taking Detroit to win it over Washington. And I think I'm going to make this my spread of the week. I think this is going to be a very entertaining game. Like I said, I can't wait to watch it. Very good game on the horizon here. 35-31. Detroit goes back to the NFC Championship as Washington, you had a great season, but I think you just ran into a better team. So still nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, it's a great stepping stone for Washington. They definitely have expectations going forward, but I just think Detroit's the better team. I'm taking the Lions in this one in a very good game. Next, we got the Sunday games. We got the Los Angeles Rams and the Philadelphia Eagles going at it in Philly as the Rams beat up on the Vikings 27-9 in Arizona as that game was moved from Inglewood to Arizona due to the wildfires in Los Angeles. If you're in the LA area, I hope you're doing okay out there. Please be safe. But yeah, the Rams, they beat up on the Minnesota Vikings 27-9. Also, Kevin O'Connell with a very questionable decision to punt on 4th and 20 when you're down 27-9 and it's the beginning of the fourth quarter, just waving the white flag right there. This is the playoffs. You're supposed to go all out. So why are you punting on a 4th and 20? I know it's a hard conversion to make, but your season's on the line right there. Okay? That sounds like something another head coach that I talk about a lot on this channel would do. But I digress. LA won big, 27-9. Philly, they won pretty big over Green Bay, 22-10 in Philadelphia. So the Eagles continue to plow through the playoffs under head coach Nick Sirianni, under quarterback Jalen Hurts. But now it seems like they have even more of a mission with Saquon Barkley. Remember, these two met on Sunday Night Football earlier in the season. Philly dominated LA from head to toe. And in that game, the Eagles' third down defense pitched a shutout against the Rams. They did not allow the Rams to convert a single third down in that entire game, while Saquon Barkley ran hog wild on them with 255 yards on the ground against the Rams. And he is coming off a 119-yard game in the wild card. So definitely the run game against the rush defense is going to be a big test for the Rams in this one. The Rams rush defense did well against Akers, but let's be honest, Akers is nowhere near on the same level as Saquon Barkley is. So LA's rush D is going to be very much tested in this game, needless to say. Their defense in general, though, they have held teams to 10 points or under in 4 of the last 5 games that they've played. But again, the Eagles are a different animal. This is definitely an offense that's capable of exploding, So there you go right there. I think a big thing right here is going to be going against Philly's offensive line, because the Rams generated 9 sacks on Sam Darnold in the wild card, and they forced a fumble 6 on him as well. But again, this is Philly's offensive line right here. And let's say Jalen Hurts is not Sam Darnold, okay? Jalen Hurts has that playoff experience. He's mobile. I mean, he's a completely different quarterback, you know? So I definitely don't expect the Rams to sack Jalen Hurts 9 times, but I do expect them to get a little bit of pressure on him in this game. You know, so the pass defense for the Rams did well. They did get an interception on Sam Darnold, and like I said, they had the fumble 6 as well. But overall, I just think this Eagles offense just kind of outmatches the Rams defense here. Other sides, you got the Rams offense against Philly's defense, and you got Matthew Stafford having playoff experience as well. But the thing about LA's offense is that they haven't scored 21 points on offense in 4 straight games. And going into a game against this against this Eagle team, you're going to have to put points up on the board on offense. I mean, it's just that simple, you know, especially knowing what type of defense they have. This is a nasty physical defense that the Eagles have. They take the ball away from you. They're going to pressure you a lot. So if they get pressure on Stafford, Rams are going to have a really rough time. And the secondary of Philly has is just incredible as well. This is a ball hawking secondary that's definitely capable of causing turnovers. However, in my opinion, they do need to stop the run just a little bit better, which brings in Kyron Williams. I think he can be a big key factor in this game for the Rams if they're to have a hope. Lacoby Dean did get injured, but, you know, if you're a predictable one-dimensional offense, it's just not going to be a pleasant matchup. So this is one of the easier ones to pick. And I mean, no disrespect to the Rams at all, but I am going to take the Philadelphia Eagles to win this one and set up a very entertaining NFC championship between the Eagles and the Lions. So I am going to take the Eagles to win this one over LA. Wrapping up divisional round weekend, we got the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. This one is in Buffalo. Well, both these teams are red hot coming into this one. The Ravens have won 5 in a row. Buffalo has won 11 of 13. So definitely that's your headline coming to this one. Another big headline, as you all may know, last time these two played was earlier this season. Baltimore blew the doors off the Bills 35-10. But to me, both these teams are entirely different coming into this game. So that may serve as the biggest advantage for the Ravens in this game, or it could be their biggest downfall coming in this game because they just take a look at the film and they're like, oh, yeah, we blew out these guys earlier. We can do it again. But then at the same time, it's like, oh, Buffalo, look at them. They've won 11 of 13. They're red hot coming into this game. They can beat us just as well as we can beat them. So that's what lands this one for this matchup here. Obviously, the Ravens blew us out 28-14. Another 60-plus yard game on the ground for Lamar Jackson, and Derrick Henry just absolutely steamrolled us once again. The Ravens are 11-0 this season when Derrick Henry rushes for 90 or more yards. So definitely right off the bat, similar to the Rams going up against Barkley, you got to be able to stop Derrick Henry. Now, again, easier said than done. But the Bills, as far as their run defense goes, not looking too good. They are undermanned on their linebacking core just a little bit, and they did allow Bo Nix to get some big gains. And in their last matchup, Lamar rushed for 54 yards in that game, and then in the wild card, he had 81 yards against us. So I think Baltimore, they just got to jam that ball right down the Bills' throat in this one right here. So there you go right there. Now getting on to defense. As I said, the Ravens, their defense has been first in most categories over the last month. And, they're going up against the Buffalo Bills, who beat up on the Denver Broncos, who had a pretty good defense. So I think definitely defense is going to come down to this one right here. And during the streak that the Ravens have been on, they've scored 28 or more points every game, and they've allowed under 17 points in every game as well. I've heard that Zay Flowers is unknown for this game. I'd wager that he's probably not going to play, according to John Harbaugh. So that's definitely something the Bills got to take advantage of in this game as well. I will give credit to Buffalo's defense. They did well on third down, and the pass defense held up well. So if they can stop the Ravens on third down and they can drain as much of the clock as they possibly can as well, Buffalo could probably be in good company. Another thing here is that Lamar only had 175 yards passing against us. So again, if you can put the Ravens in enough of a deficit and you can make Lamar try to win the game on his own while limiting Derrick Henry in this game, that definitely increases Buffalo's chances. I do think they have that type of defense, but again, it just comes down to going up against the type of player that a guy like Derrick Henry is, you know? Then you got individual matchups like Dawson Knox and Isaiah Likely, the battle of the tight ends right there. You got Samuel and Shakir right there for Buffalo. Then, of course, the Ravens, I feel like they're going to be coming in with heavy blitzes in this game. And sure, Russell Wilson had 270 yards passing against the Ravens, but those were mostly garbage time stats. Now they're going up against Josh Allen. And of course, he's got a lot of weapons to work with. James Cook, he provides a really good run game for Buffalo, you know, and James Cook, he lit it up last weekend in the wild card. So I definitely think we're